everybody knows TheMista at this point in time. But Nuggify also a player that is well known, especially in the like team game community setup. Just like a player that plays a lot of team games, and it's always very interesting when we get like some players that are coming from team games into the 1v1 scene. Most notoriously, for example, Louis MT, he was one of the players that like came from the team game scene right over to the 1v1 scene. And it's very interesting to see just how these kind of like skills from team games tend to translate over to the 1v1 spectrum there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Louis, and that was the first person I thought of when you mentioned team gamers coming over to the 1v1 scene. And Louis proved this too, that these guys who are really good in one spot of the game could still be really good in the 1v1 format, and so it's exciting to see. Nuggify, like you said, big team guy player, one against TheMista here in just a minute. Should be an exciting series. I don't really know who I'd expect to come out on top on this one, like we were talking about. Don't know who to expect in this one, and we got the drafted board right here. We're gonna be starting off on Coastal Cliffs with HRE and Byzantines.
Byzantines is an interesting one for me here, because we do know Coastal Cliffs, the starting stone spawns quite a bit further away. And stone is something that the Byzantines really want in the current meta early on, because we do always see these like massive cisterns just getting like put up pretty much immediately. Like by the time people hit feudal age with Byzantines at the current meta, they already have like level 3 cisterns coming out. That's gonna be associated with a lot more travel time here early on for TheMista, but I'm sure he's got a plan. I mean, we know TheMista, right? Like he's a player that always has a game plan. Surely he's got a game plan for this one here as well.
Yeah, I imagine he knows the limitations of this map, and it's always kind of a funny like paradox about Coastal Cliffs, right? You got 1/3 of the map just isn't there, so everything's squished in a little closer, but the stone by design, as you mentioned, further away. Yeah, I imagine he's going to have some kind of idea of what he's going to do. Maybe he plans on either just going out for it anyways, or has some other like counter idea in mind. Meanwhile, Nuggify with HRE, a little more straightforward here, I think.
I like this matchup for HRE. Just into like typically at the moment, Byzantines, they're a very tough civilization to beat in like Castle Age. Like once they're firmly nested inside Castle Age, and they got like all of these free units coming out of the Golden One Tower, so many mercenaries. A civilization like HRE, which can put out pressure immediately in Dark Age thanks to their very fast spearmen. And of course, like in a pinch, they can always use their starting prelate to heal up their units as well. I think HRE is like a perfect civilization to potentially punish the Byzantines straight off the game, like immediately in Dark Age, send a couple units over, and just pile on pressure non-stop in Feudal Age as well. Just not even let them get to the point where Byzantines kind of feel unstoppable in the mid game.
Yeah, well, and like we mentioned before, the stone being farther away, you can really punish that. You can make sure that they don't get access to it, even if it's a question of them taking a longer time to get there. A couple spears denies that entirely here, which does make HRE a pretty good choice into Byzantines on this map in particular. And then even if he, cuts off the stone, depending on the spawn, he can then go pressure the berries right on top of that as well. So really good follow-up play in Dark Age for HRE. Could be a good matchup for Nuggify to take an early game on TheMista if he can play it right.
Yeah, exactly. Just being able to punish him here, that's definitely like one of the main things that we got to be looking out for. But we do know Mista, he's like an OG pro player, not just in Age of Empires 4, but also like in Age of Mythology, and just in general, all of these like classic Age of Empires games that we do have. So I do believe that he does know that that is an option for Nuggify. And I would be surprised to see him go for like an early move out onto the stone. I think we'll probably most likely be looking at just a normal Feudal Age, like fast Feudal Age opening here from Byzantine, which is still reasonably quick. Like you just build 3 buildings at the beginning and you will be able to afford your starting cistern. I think that's just the most important scaling point early on with Byzantines, just getting that first starting cistern in to have your villagers immediately be buffed up by 10%. After that, I think you can just go off, like step off the gas pedal a little bit, take your time, get to Feudal Age, solidify your position, and then you can just mass move out like 3 villagers to stone to get those cisterns in. It's going to be interesting to see just exactly what the approach is going to be here from the players. For Nuggify with the HRE, I do want to see just a lot of aggression very, very early on.
Yeah, there's no sit on your heels and fast castle with HRE against Byzantines here. That you've definitely got, the ball in your court to start things off. I like what you mentioned about Byzantines. Getting that first cistern is critical. After that, he doesn't need to be greedy to start out. He really can't afford to be greedy. It's too easy to punish, like we've been talking about. So I agree. Byzantines needs to slow the game down after that first cistern, start building up. Maybe get those cisterns down later. I am curious exactly how he wants to go about that, but I definitely agree with the overall plan that you kind of mentioned. Like that definitely seems like the way to go here. In HRE though, like there's, like you mentioned as well, needs to be aggressive as he can get, because there's just no reason not to, you know? I mean, he could sit on his heels and go like for a fast castle, but that'd be just a complete mistake, because Byzantines will be more than happy to have some time and some buffer room to get that stone eventually, to get those cisterns going, to have the breathing space. That's the one thing you can't afford to let Byzantines have here.
Something that we've also seen a couple of times yesterday, we've seen a lot of HRE players going for the Archon Chapel. In the current meta, I really do prefer the Minework over the Archon Chapel, not just because of all the unique upgrades that you do get from the Minework, but also because it promotes the playstyle of actively creating prelates and having your economy out there, just constantly buffing up your units. Because with the Archon, at some point, all the resource and the influence, they run out. And so many times we see players just not really respecting that, and then it's like, okay, you play HRE, but without the HRE economy. And that just never really feels good, because then we're getting to the point where just any generic civilization starts outgathering them.
Yeah, which just feels different, you know, because in years past, Aachen Chapel has just been the go-to more often than not because of its range, because of its influence. But with those nerfs, you know, you're right, it does draw into question of whether or not it's the right choice or not. I feel like for me, the jury's out still. I definitely think both would be very viable here. I think depending on the spawn, depending on what resources he gets, an Aachen Chapel could be still worthwhile. Especially if he puts it like right on the wood. If he's got like a wood gold and like a deer not too far, I could see that being really worthwhile still. But the Minework, I think, could get equal amount of value on a map like this when he's trying to be aggressive, as he should be.
All right, now it is time for us to dive into our game number one of the day here. Ladies and gentlemen, in the color blue, we do have Nuggify playing as the Holy Roman Empire here on Coastal Cliffs. His opponent in the color red, it's going to be Aces TheMista playing as the Byzantines. This is going to be our first set here of the day in our second qualifier for the EGC Masters Fall tournament.
Right away, we see that first cistern being brought up. He's put a mill on the berries.
So looks like the mill on the berries immediately signifies to Nuggify. I like that he scouted that one out immediately. It immediately signifies that this is going to be a Hippodrome build. Now, Hippodrome does have, like the main strength, of course, is that you do have stronger horsemen. So even if Nuggify were to, for example, go for a Minework build in a straight-up fight engagement with the Triumph ability, Mista's horseman would still be better here. So that's always something that Nuggify is going to have to keep in mind here throughout the game. Once that ability gets activated, you don't want to take a fight.
Yeah, most definitely not. It definitely does signify that, you know, that Mista knows the assignment here, knows that he can't play passive, he can't really go for a really easy boom game. He's not going to get the opportunity. So it definitely is, like, I agree with you, looking like a Hippodrome build. The Triumph ability, I mean, the tricky thing is with the faster units for HRE, with spears being your go-to, it's still not an easy fight for the Mista. I think you're right that he does win out on that, but depending on how Nuggify plays it, if he, you know, micros it really well, that's still not easy, and he's going to have to find some value out of it as well, because I think Nuggify could easily get ahead here if he gets a little bit of damage done with a couple spears. If he can, as we see here, the Minework coming up, just as you had predicted, if he can get some value here in Feudal Age and maybe get ahead and move towards the Castle Age, Nuggify could be in a really good position here.
Yeah, definitely do like the Minework idea. Even if you do know that your opponent's horsemen in a fight are going to be stronger, you should still go for the Minework, just because that ability is tied to just something that's not active all the time. Meanwhile, your Minework, that bonus is going to be active throughout the entire game.
Yeah, definitely. See the sheep being gathered in here. It's a pretty good haul of sheep, actually, for this map.
That's pretty decent. 9 sheep there, so should be very even, I want to say, between the two. Most importantly, though, just having the ability to, or rather being incentivized to be making your own. Yeah, it's somewhat even, I want to say. Although Mista, he hasn't actually taken his own sheep yet, right? Because he's been on the berries for most of the game. So it does look like Nuggify does have a good couple more. Okay, there's still some out on the map there. One at least left. Yeah, Nuggify getting a couple more in there. Overall, nothing too crazy here, though, for the moment. But yeah, this is going to be a game that's mostly, I want to say, going to also be decided in regards to, like, the outer resources on the map. Because Nuggify is going to have to, like, invest into some prelates and move out onto, like, the outer deer. here as well. I think that's probably like one of the things that Mista could potentially punish, and is probably going to have to look forward to. It's a difficult situation. It's like one of these like very even matchups, the way both are playing it, with Hippodrome into Minework, where both players are going to want to like have a lot of horsemen up, and both players are going to try and raid the outer resources from their opponents.
It's really going to come down to who can land the raid, right? Like who can deal the hardest blow in Feudal Age, who can find those outer resources with the villagers just sitting there open. And so, I mean, like if TheMista, for instance, let's just say like around minute 7 or 8, finds a prelate with a bunch of deer and villagers on it and can kill a couple of those villagers, maybe even take the prelate out, that'd be a huge blow. On the other side, though, Nuggify could easily, you know, find TheMista sitting on some berries unprotected and, you know, storm with the infantry and horsemen of his own. So it really is going to come down to who can get more villager kills, who can inflict more damage and get ahead, because right now things are dead even.
I like that we're immediately getting the vision upgrade on the houses there from TheMista. Means that he's going to have a lot of line of sight around his base, and is indeed going to just know whenever there's a unit engaging on his side. Like, look at this wood line. He will know if there's a unit trying to like snipe a villager there.
Yeah, it's one of those like forgotten techs. I feel like not forgotten, but you don't think of it if you don't play Byzantines a lot or don't interact with Byzantines a ton. You don't always think of it that they have better vision with that upgrade.
Absolutely. Horseman count pretty even between them right now as well. Now at the beginning, Mista is going to have the benefit of, with the Byzantines, of course, the cistern, giving you a little bit faster production speed on your units. Nuggify immediately getting all pikes in already, so is going to have some very strong horsemen on his side as well, getting an outpost on the goal as well. Outpost also just really, really important here early on in the game. When both players are going for cavalry, just having the ability to save your villagers on the gold means that you don't need to stick around in your base for too long, but you can instead just move out on the map and get some damage in on your opponent's side rather than just sticking around in your own base the entire time.
First engagement here, Scout takes a little bit of chip damage, but nothing else too much. Just some posturing going on in the middle of the map as both players building up a mass.
We should be starting to see some move into a contract here soon now for Mista. He does already have most of the olive oil gather that he needs from that first berry pack. Hasn't decided yet on a contract to go for. There we go, contract, and it is going to be the Eastern Mercenary contract, so we will be seeing some Keshiks in Feudal, Golems in Castle, and eventually Tower Elephants in Imperial Age, should we get to that point, but it means that this is going to be a very much cavalry-focused game here for Mista.
On a map that's, you know, one third smaller than the others, it's going to mean for a lot of back and forth and a lot of quick plays, and these guys are going to have to keep their heads kind of on a swivel as they back and forth, trying to get some damage, trying to see if they can outdo the other. There's that triumph coming in. It's
going to come in. Now, this not only gives you the bonus attack on the horseman, but also bonus movement speed. So once these horsemen, the weak horsemen from Nuggify, try to run away, they might not be able to make that alive, and we do see 2 horsemen here going down from Nuggify. Great micro from TheMista, taking down 3 horsemen, I believe it was, and not losing one of his own.
Yeah, that ability, he timed it almost perfectly, you know, right about the time where his units were sitting around 40% HP. It's that sucker up, and then he's able to outspeed, I think, again. That was the crucial point there, being able to catch up and get that final blow. Because these guys are both so good at micro, they're going to be able to pull away at the right time, but with the extra speed, it won't matter, like you said. And the Scout will go down, though, for TheMista.
Now, Nuggify, he does, like, never forget that Nuggify also has the ability to heal up his horsemen. If he just gets them back towards his base, he does have double prelates there right now, so he is going to be able to heal them relatively quickly. And that is definitely something that he should make use of. It's just saved value. Every horseman that you say, like, that you heal back to full is an immediate 120 resources worth of units that you get back up. Now, there's something nice and something pretty bad about Mr. going for the Keshiks here, because the nice thing is, in a straight-up horseman versus horseman engagement, having some armored units in there is going to be a huge benefit to you. But at the same time, HRE has the best spearmen in the game at this stage, just because of the bonus movement speed, and also with all pikes, they're going to be doing an incredible amount of damage.
Yeah, it's double-edged sword there. I like what you mentioned about the prelates too, as we see some horsemen trying to poke at the base, not finding any damage. As far as like the healing value, it really is something that I think just across the meta is very underutilized, especially with units like HRE. Everyone knows like Ayubids has really good healing with the dervishes. A lot of people use the scholars with the elephants for Delhi. But outside of that, I feel like most civs just don't utilize healing units enough, and that is just free value, especially for a civ like HRE.
The houses, once again, for Mysta, he's spreading them out everywhere. He sees so much around his own base. Nuggify, he tried to be a little bit cheeky there, just sending in 2 of his horsemen alongside with the scout, but isn't going to be able to find any value here as Mysta does pull his army toward that side. Army is getting split off, though. The main army from Nuggify is trying to attack onto the berries here from Mysta. Mysta already 2 outposts there, and the rest of his army isn't really going to find any value there, and we do see the Triumph getting activated here. Might potentially get a villager killed. Nope, doesn't get it in time.
There's just too many horsemen in Kashik here, and he's got one too many low health horsemen. Nuggify doesn't want to lose any, trying to maybe get a Vil. I gotta say, Mista's doing a really good job of playing defensive with his cavalry in a way that works, and I really think you're right. It comes down to the vision. The fact that he can see where his opponent's at and trying to poke and prod. He can react with enough time to get there to keep his villagers alive. And that's really all he needs to do at this moment. He needs to get some value back on Nuggify at some point, but he's already gotten a couple horsemen up on him. So he's doing a really good job thus far.
We are only just now getting the second batch of Kashyyyks in, so we'll be getting up to 4 Kashyyyks on the field. Mysta behind this, though, he's got a great amount of food, and we do have another clash here coming in, but I'm not sure if this is a clash that Nuggify really wants to take. He does have the all pikes, he does have the +1 melee and damage upgrade on his horsemen, but just having a couple of Kashyyyks in there means that the horsemen just can't trade as effectively.
Not healing again, right? Like, he really needs to get those couple weak ones back to base to heal. Nuggify does that. Maybe he could take a fight here. He does have the numbers here.
Kashyyyks are going to step forward, are going to tank the majority of the damage, but enough horsemen are here this time around. Reinforcements are coming in. We do see the Triumph ability getting pulled. Nuggify is going to be able to clean up the initial mass here, but the reinforcement horsemen are coming in. There's a lot of weak horsemen now in the army from Nuggify. Most of them are weak, in fact. He cannot take this fight. Right now, what he needs to do is just peel the alive ones back in order to buy himself some room. Get these horsemen back up in health. You can heal them up. It is definitely a possibility for you, and you would save up so much value. If he saved up, like if he healed up all of these horsemen, it would be like immediately getting 1,000 more resources in. Instead, he will take a fight, get some good damage in on the Kashyyyks, but this is still not a fight that I would want to take right now with this many weak horsemen.
I agree. It's a very squishy underbelly. In fact, even this right here, it just needs to be distraction. He needs to peel away, but he keeps coming back for more. This is too greedy. He needs to pull those weak ones away. I mean, half of them are down to like 2 HP.
He loses so much value there every time. The destruction value, though, is relatively even between them. That is quite something, considering that Nuggify at the beginning did lose a lot of units inside the base of the Mysta. The Mysta now reinvesting heavily. He almost had the resources that he needed in order to go up to Castle Age. Castle Age, though, might seem like it's on the menu for Nuggify instead. He's also floating a lot of resources, so somewhat flirting with the idea of going up to next age. Triumph is coming in here once again. It's only going to be a short one, but a short one is going to be enough to do some major damage here in these engagements. And now Nuggify is the one with the lesser horseman numbers here.
We got Spears and Limitane coming out on both sides here as well. Both players trying to find an edge over the other. Man, it just feels like Nuggify's playing with fire a little bit with some of those weakened horsemen. The numbers look better than they are. If you've got a 2 HP horseman, you essentially only have 2% of a horseman.
This is making me very anxious here every time I see these low HP horsemen from Nuggify going for these dives. Nuggify also stepping forward to a berry patch, triple outposts there, so does have a great amount of reinforcements there, and this is so important. Just having these outposts there means that with both players having a very mobile army, you do have the ability of sending some units out more easily thanks to the outpost, because you will have enough time to react to your opponent. Do have another fight coming in here. Triumph does get activated, but it's a very short one. Pretty much only lasts for a couple of seconds, but still, Nuggify, you don't have enough units here. You have forgotten to heal up your horsemen. So many horsemen just going down in an instant here. But now the Regnitz Cathedral is going to be on its way from Nuggify. Does already have 3 prelates out on the field, so getting relics in quickly shouldn't be that tough of a task for him, but he has to be very careful as he does not have a lot of military here out in the field at the moment. And we do see the berries being under attack here, but with triple outposts, that is not something that Mysta can really commit to at the moment.
Those outposts really saving Nuggify here because he's in a somewhat tenuous spot here. He's one bad fight from getting cleared. Those horsemen finally getting a little bit of chip healing. I like to see that. This is what he's needed to do for a while now, is just send the weak ones back, sit here. It's going to take a while to get all those back to full health. He should have done that a long time ago. Now, TheMista able to move around the map freely, however. If he finds those deer to the north side, which is where he's kind of angling towards, that could be trouble.
Could be quite a lot of trouble. Nuggify, he hasn't really prepped anything yet for the Castle Age. I'm not seeing any additional spearmen or any additional men-at-arms coming in, because men-at-arms, that would definitely be a unit that he could go for right away in Castle Age. Instead, it is going to be some knights. Mista, though, behind this, he is preparing Limitani, and we now also see the Golden Horn Tower coming in, but getting rushed up with 15 villagers, so will be quite quick to get that up. First relic is going to be picked up in the middle. Actually, this is the benefit with having 3 prelates immediately. Look how quickly Nuggify is collecting these relics.
All 3 in hand already. And the brilliant thing about HRE is it's not a long walk to drop them off in a tower if you need that gold right away, which is what we're seeing done towards the south side there.
Love to see just like maybe 3 villagers getting sent over towards stone at this point in time. I do believe, yeah, we are just now seeing villagers moving over towards the stone. There is a mining camp being put inside, like next to Nuggify stone. If he just gets a couple there in on the stone and just slowly but surely get some emplacements on these outposts, that is going to pay off big time for him here as the game goes on.
See Nuggify trying to get a raid in, but TheMista once again just quick to reinforce. The vision just so good here for him. He's able to really see where Nuggify is at. Although Nuggify did a good job of getting his units and matching what could have been a dangerous raid on those deer to the north. He was able to kind of get his units there in time.
Are moving towards the villagers here. They're not upgraded yet, though. There's no shield wall active at the moment as well. Rather, is it? Okay, now the shield wall has been activated. So the outposts are going to be going down rather quickly here. Nuggify is going to have to be careful. First villager is going to be able to survive, but that is one outpost down.
Die. That was close.
The outpost is being reinvested into. Textiles now coming in as well. More blacksmith upgrades, courtesy of still just being incredibly cheap here for Nuggify, thanks to the mine work. And now we see Mista going for the 2-pronged attack. Nuggify, he's just running away. He's immediately running away. There's no scout with the army. Mista does not see that the villagers have already retreated. Relic inside the outpost is going to be forfeited, though.
Yeah, that scout went down in an early fight right when they got into H2, when there was just a couple of horsemen each. That was one of the pickoffs that the Nuggify got, and that's really paid off now.
The knights from Nuggify, they do have the barding upgrade from the minework, so they have an incredible amount of armor here. A couple of spearmen getting left behind. They do get some horsemen, but are going to get cleaned up in the end after all. And once again, the spearmen from Mista are going to move towards the outpost here. This time, though, it looks like the horsemen are going to be moving alongside with them, and then I don't think Nuggify is going to be able to really hold this position. We do see the first fortification upgrade in, though. So one outpost, especially with the relic, is going to be very tough to kill.
Yeah, that's an important one to fortify there. He needs to get that other relic and make sure it gets home as well. He's looking at this one through the far west corner, posturing like he wants to get it. There is, of course, the monk for Mista right there as well, but he's not going to be able to get it now. Big fight here in the middle under the towers. Spears retreating, actually. Too many
Second
units for TheMista.
Coming in. And Mista is going for the torch. He does not have any scouts here, so no bonus torch damage here. As we do know, the Byzantines, they can upgrade their torches with a scout nearby. And the villagers, they're going to have to ungarrison here. That's a lot of them going down. Wheelbarrow has come in, but with Triumph, a lot of things are going to go down. A lot of villagers here going to go down. Nuggify is trying to find some damage inside of the base of Mista here. There are some Kashyyyks, though, in order to defend that. Second outpost, slowly but surely, is going to go down. That's another 5 villagers here, completely surrounded. All of them going to get taken down. And there's no emplacements inside of these outposts. They're not really doing any special extra damage here. He's just taking down all the outposts. Nuggify, he's not microing the army. Right now, Mista 13 villagers ahead.
This has been a bad exchange. I mean, you kind of hope you do a little bit of a base trade here. Maybe you come out even, but Nuggify just missing the villagers. He's finally got some on the gold there in the corner now, but he's going to lose so many villas on his own.
More villagers going down. The Knight still not finding any damage here. It's all toward the front side of Mr. Space. The income, it just hasn't been denied yet. And Nuggify, he's not getting any food in at the moment.
Military numbers don't look good. 37 to 16. It's hard to come back when you're over, doubled against you. It's tough to come back, It's 38 to 16. He needs to get producing stuff, but without any food coming in, this looks dire. I don't know how he comes back from this.
The bank. Yeah, he does still have a good amount of wood in the bank. And I mean, he still has 4 relics with the HRE. At least the 4th one is coming in for him behind all of this. But yeah, these outposts pretty tough for him to take down. Oh, that's a lot of villagers here being found out, but are going to be able to garrison. Relic needs to be put inside of the outpost very quickly. It does get put inside just barely in the nick of time. Knights here to defend, and this is not something that Mr. can really fight into right now. More sprinkler emplacements also coming in for Nuggify, but he has lost a lot of military. We're now actually seeing Landsknechte being massed up for Nuggify as well. Now he does have a lot of relics, so does have a lot of passive gold income. Maybe that's his way of potentially getting back into this game, as long as Mr. doesn't, invest into archers or something like that, because like right now Nuggify doesn't have a lot of food, but with a good amount of gold income, Landsknechte is something that you can reasonably afford.
Yeah, that's one of the few units he really can work with right now. He needs to get that food going up right now. At this point, though, this is a weird, awkward time where the food resources on the outside of the map start drying up. And you got to start thinking, how can I get a farm position at home? This is the part of the game where Nuggify wants the game to slow down, and it just won't. I don't think the Mist is going to give him the option. He is just posturing very aggressively on the side there.
Looks like Mr. is going to be able to take back that 1 relic that Nuggify dropped on the berries and the boar. The other relics all in possession for Nuggify, though. Sacred Side should also starting to be capped soon here by Mr. as he's the one that has map control right now. We do see the second TC coming in for Mr. on the deer, so is going to get some nice food over there as well. It's going to be roughly 2,000 food there that he will have access to.
I like that play, actually. It slows the game down a little bit for the Mista here, but he really can't give the killing blow right this second. I mean, he could try, but it's risky. He's doing the safer option here of, let me just scale my eco now. I'm ahead militarily. I've got map control. Let me scale the eco behind this. That way, there really is no easy way back for Nuggify.
Mr. so far, just the military scaling. Every time he took a fight, he took a better one. It looks like Nuggify will be able to find some gold villagers. Ooh, finds the villagers over there as well. We do have some trade out happening as well with the market. Not quite able to stick on to the villagers here, though. Nuggify splitting off into 2 groups. Still chasing after those villagers, though. But there's the spearman. Nuggify, gotta be careful. He's not looking. And he's gonna lose the knights for it. Yeah, he does kill villagers, but he still doesn't have a competitive army at all at the moment. Mr. now heavily investing into... Well, not really investing, but he's just getting a lot of golems in here now as well.
Yeah, at this point, looking at the villager kills, it's 13 to 11 villager deaths. Both sides have done a good job of raiding. The difference is, though, the military engagements here. Nuggify just hasn't won a fight on the ground with his military. It's how do you scale back?
Landsknechte being shown here, and Mr. spreads wide, wants to go for the engagement yet again. And now he's trying to go for some raids. Yeah, Mr. now is spreading wide around there with his military units. So starting to just try and, pull Nuggify apart on all these different sides. Oh, the villagers from Nuggify, they're being found out. They tried to go back to the boar. No military reinforcements at all, though. They got to run all the way back, and that's a lot of them going down again.
Desperation play. The Nuggify needs to keep the food income rolling to scale back, and dropping a couple extra villagers, that was the last thing he needed right here.
The army from Mista at the moment, it mostly just consists of Limitani, so the Landsknechte play absolutely great here at the moment for Nuggify. It's just the mass that is missing. If he had like 10 more spearmen here just in order to be a meat shield for those Landsknechte, it would be a lot better here for him. Nuggify yet again, he's getting put off from just reclaiming that boar and those berries. I think he just has to admit to himself that that is probably not going to be something that he can have access to. And there we go, Mista, he springs the trap. Units surrounding the army from Nuggify, and a lot of Landsknechte immediately going down. Only 5 remaining now.
That's not enough.
Nuggify, he needs to keep the Landsknechte alive.
And needs more than that, he needs them to do some really good work, and he's not going to get the opportunity.
Behind this, there's also the build-up, the slow build-up from Mysta with the crossbows, and we're getting to the point where the crossbows are going to be able to start one-shotting pretty much just about anything that Nuggify has out on the field, not just the knights, but also all the unarmored units here.
I like what TheMista's doing here. He's trying to like bait Nuggify in, give it that little semicircle, just kind of inviting him in, trying to get that surround. If he ever does get that surround, it's going to be game over.
Right now, both players, though, being very cautious. Mysta realized that if he loses a fight, that could also very well, like, just snowball very quickly against him, as is the majority of his army, it's still just Limitani.
There are a number of crossbows coming up for Nuggify. He's got 16 on the field, 2 more in. Both players leaning into Expos as they've gone into Castle Age here, little bit by little bit. The difference, again, it's just the scale. 93 units to 53. It would take a really good fight for Nuggify to get in this, but if he could pull off the miracle, he'd be in a really good situation.
Looks like Mysta starts torching down the outpost there, but that is in range of the emergency repair aura. So that is going to be coming in here for him. Fight looks like it's being taken, but Dolanskish immediately getting taken down. Only 3 left alive here now.
There's just too many numbers.
Back with the crossbows. Just so many Limitani. Now, a lot of them have gone down already. 15 Limitani down, but the army from Nuggify, it suffered equally. And there's just no reinforcements at the moment from him coming out. The Limitani mass, it's just starting to push through. Not enough kiting coming in. And now behind this, I mean, Mysta, he still has just so many crossbows alive, and now starting to reinforce again with the horsemen, where at this point in time, with all of these trades that have been going on, if we just check out the Hippodrome again, there must be a lot of stacks there waiting for him.
Yeah, he did a great job of sniping out the Lens Connect. And he really made sure, I mean, I'm looking at it, there's not a single one alive now from Nuggify. Every single one perished in that last battle. The TheMista really focusing them down with the ranged units.
Yeah. The issue here as well for Nuggify is that because he doesn't have any semblance of map control, he is completely reliant on the passive gold income from the relics. That's not that much at this point in the game, right? Like, he's getting like 640 gold per minute passively. That is not going to be enough for constant night production. So I think at the moment he just needs to like fully commit into mass crossbows and spearmen just to like have a semblance of chance here. He does have a good food income right now. He did put up a lot of farms, and I want to say, like, if he just gets like a couple more prelates out again and starts actively inspiring all of these farm clusters that he has, he's still in this one. He's still in this one potentially, just because he's got so many farms. Mysta, he's only just now starting to prepare for the farm, so he's got some investing to do. If Nuggify can like rebuild an army here, there's still a chance, because the knights from Nuggify are still absolutely broken. +2 additional armor on them. Like, if Nuggify is able to keep Mysta's army in one spot and have just a couple of knights raiding, those knights are never going to die to arrow fire.
It's a big if, though, if he can mass up enough. 70 to 30, now 40. I mean, Nuggify's doing a decent job of getting the military fielded up again, and a lot of what the TheMista has is almost an A. But the crossbows, though, as well. The tricky thing is both players have bases that are very difficult to get into. It's hard to do a lot of raiding damage in the actual bases. On the fringes, yeah, you can go, raid the outside resources, but both have the ability to make some very, very annoying towers to deal with. So you just get this kind of weird standoff where they kind of attack on the edge of the base, but don't really go in and do any real game-ending damage.
At the moment, something else that's become a big issue here for Nuggify is, of course, like not being able to access gold here as much. And Mysta, he's about to hit the button. He's about to go to Imperial Age. He's got the resources for it in just a little bit.
Yeah, Nuggify's putting everything he has back into military. The TheMista has the military. And yeah, I think Imperial Age is just right around the corner. And there it goes. Foreign engineering company coming in. And that's the answer to the prickly towers, right? If towers are slowing you down, just get some siege.
Nuggify, he's investing into Trebuchet now. Just in order to start to like try taking down the outposts here from Mysta, as Mysta does have that Sacred Site victory condition, of course, ticking. Nuggify has finally gone into the mass crossbows and spearmen army composition, but it's come so late at a point where Mysta now was able to hit the Imperial Age button I'm fearing that by the time Nuggify is able to take the first trade, Mista should have at least one elite upgrade in.
It's hard to see what else Nuggify should be able to do, too. He just needs to do what he's doing a lot faster, which just doesn't work. He's looking to move in a little bit now, knows he's on the clock and he needs to do something. Knows his opponent is in the next stage. It's a lot of crossbows from TheMista, though.
There's a lot, and Nuggify, it doesn't feel like the trade out here would be worth it for him. We do get the elite upgrades in, both on Limitani as well as on the crossbows for Mista. Both the units that he has the most of right now. Fight is being taken though, maybe a little bit too early here. The upgrades are not in yet at this point in the game. And Nuggify does have a great amount of crossbows here working for him.
This is his moment. This is where the window is somewhat open. This is where Nuggify can get some damage. Before those elite upgrades kick in, he can make those upgrades not important for the time being. That'd be huge, but he's running low on numbers as well. His front line getting diminished pretty quickly here.
Oh, he's trying to match the Imperial Age timing behind this. Instead of doubling down in the Castle Age now. That is rough. I feel like if he just doubled down and went for a little bit of a longer Castle Age on his side, he would have a way bigger payout. But it looks like he still manages to beat out the army here. Palace of Swabia now coming in for Nuggify. Second Trebuchet out now as well. He's going to start taking down these outposts. And Mista behind this though, he's got a... Mista, he's holding a massive amount of olive oil at the moment. And if he gets like a point where he's got like 2,000, 3,000 olive oil, he can just all dump it into these royal cannons and just start tearing down the base from Nuggify.
I think I'm looking at those 4 relics for Nuggify. That really might be the difference as to how he stuck it through. And he just had I mean, even though he's got no access really to gold, had just enough from the relics to kind of hold. And because he swapped into the spear composition, yeah, the Expos cost him gold, but he swapped into spears as well, which not a gold cost at all. I think gave him just an ability to keep in this game. Tricky thing now is though is the upgrades. Can you get all the elite upgrades you need to be competitive in Imperial Age? Because now you've committed to it and you get the value out of it, and TheMista is a leg up on that regard.
Second Sacred side, there weren't too many outposts there. A couple units do reinforce over on that side though. So should be possible easily for Mista to hold that side, at least for the time being. We are now getting the first elite upgrade in for Nuggify. It is going to be elite on the crossbows. He's also getting Tithe Bonds in with 4 relics. That definitely makes a lot of sense, getting a lot more resources there. Passively in as well. But still, the timer, it continues to tick down. And
5 minutes isn't worrisome, right? That's when it gets down to like 3 minutes, you start really sweating.
It starts to get uncomfortable.
Yeah, it creeps up on you.
It's still also just a lot of passive gold income for TheMista as well. He's at 280 gold per minute, so that's almost equivalent to like having 3.5 relics.
That's true. That's true. That's something I think it's easy to overlook that the gold comes in as well for that. I think once the timer gets close to the time to lose, you forget about the gold part. You're just worried about losing the game outright. But yeah, this whole time it's been 5+ minutes of having both of those just trickle in some extra, on top of the fact that TheMista's owned all the gold on the map until very recently.
Yeah. Seeing more emplacements coming in for Nuggify. At this point in base, in this point in time, like his base is very, very prickly. There, like if you go in there with all of the emplacements there, your units start turning into shish kebab.
It's looking like a balloon tower defense.
Yeah, now Mista is the one that starts taking the engagement here. Now he does have the Limitani with the shield wall, so the crossbows not doing that much damage here to them. Horseman trying to get the surround in order to connect to the crossbows here from Mista. Still, as you mentioned, a lot of outposts here. That's a lot of damage just coming in passively. And even though Nuggify didn't have the best army formation here, or rather the best movement into this fight, his army is trading out somewhat okay.
Yeah, those towers doing a lot of work. The sprinkled emplacements really helping, not to mention the DPS from the crossbows. The front line is gone, however, so those towers need to pick up some work for him real quick. He's going to have to back up. Heavy prices, though, that
cannot
Mista
sustain. Yeah, Mista cannot sustain this attack behind us. Does have enough stone for a keep. Might want to put one up now on the right-hand sacred side, where all the outposts have been taken down so far. Yeah, at the end of the day, Mista, he's going to have to fall back, and Nuggify still has a good army count now.
3 minutes on the clock, 4 minutes on the clock now. for this timer. That's going to be the condition, I think. Because right now, military numbers are evened out. It's 49, 47. You feel good either way. Both players have access to gold. If that sacred timer, though, like we said, sneaks up on you. 3:40 seconds.
We are starting to get to that point now and Mysta. Okay, I'm guessing that's from the Golden Horn Tower, but we do see the first tower elephant being queued up.
That's why I love the Golden Horn Tower. Even if you forget that you could do that, the Golden Horn Tower doesn't forget. You know, it'll pick you up.
It's never nice to have a... It's never bad to have a tower elephant, especially because they don't take any bonus damage from the crossbows, so they're inherently just an amazing meat shield up against ranged units. Nuggify once again investing into some Landsknechte. We do say a keep now coming up for Mysta on the left sacred side. Does still have a good amount of stone income, so maybe we're going to see a second keep. We did just have the first bell ring there for the sacred side timer, so 3 minutes, less than 3 minutes remaining now.
I like how Nuggify's been still trying to raid this entire time. And actually, the villager number is dead even. So he's done a good job of
almost,
kind of, you know, keeping things in check.
It's a Swabia, right? Like, he gets a couple of kills. He didn't get many kills, but he got a couple of kills, and Swabia just kind of picks you up there.
Big engagement coming in here. Limited A pushing forward. Man, the trebuchets look very exposed right here.
And there's just no real front line from Nuggify outside of the Horseman, but you don't want a front Horseman against the Limitani. And behind this, there's also the Elite Army tactics now coming in just a little bit. Nuggify with the Mass Horseman feels like an army composition that you just want to raid with, but raiding is not something that you can really do when there's a Sacred Side timer with just 2 minutes left on the clock.
And there goes the bell right there. Things getting rough. And unfortunately for Nuggify, both of his trebuchets got sniped down by this Limited A. So he has no range siege to work with. He's got a cannon, a culverin, but that's it.
There's no keep, though, blocking the bottom sacred side. He just needs army mass at the moment. Just something in order to win the fight with. Like mangonels, springles, just anything here at this point in time would really save him, but there's no front line up against the Limitani with which he can fight at the moment.
He keeps making horsemen because he doesn't have the gold to really sustain a whole lot else besides the crossbows and siege he has. And he's looking for raiding, but at this point, like, raiding is great and all, but you got to fight for another day. You got a minute and 18 seconds.
Horseman fronting here yet again up against the men-at-arms. Now, at least while the shield wall is active, they're not really doing that much damage to the Horsemen. They lose a lot of their attack speed. But Nuggify, he's starting to throw away the crossbows. That's the one unit that he can't really throw away at the moment. He's standing his ground maybe a little bit too long. More and more of the Horsemen coming in. Lots of villagers getting pulled right now. Where are they getting pulled to, though? That's the question.
There's a gold on the bottom side there, but he might need to think about pulling them onto the sacred site. It's 45 seconds to go.
I think there's a keep coming up on the bottom sacred side as well.
Has Nuggify forgotten about the sacred sites?
Yeah, there's a keep there now as well. It's getting upgraded as well.
He hasn't even made a play for them. He just hasn't played for them at all.
Yeah, I don't think that he just really knew what his win condition there was. He just tried to go for the raids, but when you raid, you take away your opponent, like, you just make more room for your opponent to mass military, and that's exactly what they want when they're just playing for the sacred side timer here. And now Nuggify, the potential to decap the sacred sides, it's all but gone. He's trying to make a desperation move here. Horseman trying to run to the top sacred side, but he's not able to stand on top of it. 3 seconds remaining, and just like that, Mysta able to win the game with the sacred side timer here. Game number 1 going over to the Mysta.
And it really felt like he just forgot about the sacred sites. That open one on the bottom was there for so long, and you gotta wonder, he had a pretty good military mass. I don't know if he would have won or not, but you gotta at least try and contest that. He definitely was not doing what he was doing. And the raids, again, while great, weren't the win condition there anymore. It feels like he kind of like forgot the assignment for a second. Tough loss to take.
Definitely. It hurts when you lose the game like that, right? Like, because at the end, like, he actually had the better economy towards the end there. Now, Mysta still, of course, with all the olive oil is pretty massive there, but throughout it, I want to say, like, towards the end, it did definitely look like Nuggify was coming back in the economy.
I agree.
well.
And if that game goes on another 15 minutes, I don't know who. I mean, if he had more time, then I don't know who would necessarily would win that. Like, I think it'd be more of a toss-up. But because of the win condition timer, it feels bad because Nuggify, I felt like his economy finally did get going. He finally was able to get some good units out in the field. Had the culverin come out. He was making great use of the crossbows for a good number of minutes. Just lost sight of track of the time for the Sacred Site, and that just came back to bite him.
Ah, man. I mean, that's how it goes, I guess.
Yeah,
Mr. just played the mid game. Yeah, Mr. just played the mid game a lot better, I feel like, throughout it all. Just how he took the trades, right, with the military forces, and it just worked out so well there for him.
Mm-hmm. It's a really tough loss to swallow if you're Nuggify, I think. Like, that just feels bad because you felt the tide turning a little bit. You felt like you were starting to get into your groove. HRE is pretty good into late game, and then just the timer, and then it just feels like you can't. You have time, and we were saying too, it sneaks up on you. Like, you feel fine when it's 5 minutes, so you kind of feel a little worried, like you need to do something about it. Then 3 minutes comes by, and it's like, oh, you still got some time. Then 2 minutes, you're like, okay. 1 minute, and suddenly you're looking at 10 seconds, and there's just not enough time to do anything, and the day of reckoning comes.
The issue, of course, always is that it's not just your opponent getting closer to the Sacred Site victory, but also they're getting additional resources for every single Sacred Site that they have captured. It's like 3 villagers worth of income. So having those 2 Sacred Sites, it's like your opponent essentially has like 6 more villagers for free working for them. So the gap just becomes wider and wider. And the longer you wait, the harder it becomes trying to just deny that Sacred Site victory from coming in. Next up, though, we are going to be moving towards Gorge, and this time it's going to be China for Nuggify against the Ayubids from Mysta. And China's a civilization that we don't actually see too often at the moment in tournaments, just because they get banned a lot for very good reasons. In most civilizations, like with pro scouting, right? Like we got a lot of civilizations that are like very much reliant on pro scout, but China is like they pro scout, and after that, like even once pro scout runs out, they still do well. Their transitions are just very, very much simpler for them than they are for other civilizations. Like French, for example, once pro scout runs out, if you don't have like a guild hall full of resources and are like prepped for like farms immediately, you have a very rough transition ahead of you. Yeah. China has a relatively easy time transition after the pro scout play.
Well, they do pro scouts because they can, not because they need to, which is just insane. Like, I mean, it's like we're not the same, Like, you do pro scouts because it really synergizes with your civ and you really, really need to. I do pro scouts because I can. And that really is the difference, He does not need to go pro scouts, and he could still be deathly and dangerous as China against Ayubids. That's it. I do enjoy Ayubids into China. That is a fun pick, and one that I don't think is a pushover. With the ability to go Desert Raiders, there is a counterplay to the pro scouts, but I do worry about Ayubids when it comes time for that food transition for them. I think that's where it really gets dangerous, because China's going to be able to get their food going one way or another. Like, they're going to either pro scouts or they're going to not, and they're still probably going to be fine. Like, they're probably going to be able to get the timing right. Ayubids really suffers from the lack of food in the mid-late game, because they've got a lot of tempo really quick, really early. They can do a lot of really fun things. That farm transition just doesn't usually happen for Ayubids. It just isn't really good. They don't have any really good bonuses that enable that. And so I'm curious to see how TheMista is going to play it in that regard. Like, if he's going to be just really aggressive early and try and, keep China ruffled up and not let them do much, or if he's got some kind of plan for if that game goes late.
I think you underestimate Ayubids there a little bit. I think the farm transition for Ayubids is quite fine. They don't get quite as much of a bonus as the Ayubids, but they do still have that golden age with the 10% bonus income working for them. And of course, like, if you do have the age up with the economic win growth, when you use that to age up to castle age, it's essentially as though you immediately get the villagers worth from a second TC without actually having to commit to a second TC. You also just muster up your berries a lot more. Your transitions are actually very, very fluid with the Ayubids overall. They're a very strong economic civilization. It's like one of the best civilizations to rush Castle Age with and then just stick it out in Castle Age, even if the game goes longer. It's one of the main reasons why I want to say, okay, even though we don't have like deer luring anymore, Ayubids are fine. Like, Ayubits was borderline broken when deer luring was a thing, because you could go for logistics wing. You have your 2 dervishes coming out for free, and you were able to deer lure with the dervishes and just have an insane castle age timing with 3 deer underneath your TC. It was a little bit too good. We'll say it was a little bit too good, but we'll have to see just how exactly this one's going to be playing out as we move over to our game number 2 here between Ayubits and Chinese here. Chinese being played by Nuggify in the color blue here. Mysta in the color red playing as the Ayubits in this one. And I do like the opening that we have here with Nuggify. Now, we do have a lot of players just, you know, swearing by the no IO opening with Chinese, with China, just in general. But I think it's still great to have that early Imperial Official, because with the early Imperial Official, you can do this. You have the first drop-off, like the starting villagers are going to go onto wood, and then you build the mill, and you have like the supervised drop-off to get even more wood, and that way you can afford a starting village immediately at the beginning of a game, and a mill, and a mining camp with just 3 more wood gathered. And it just, like, having that early village, you save up a bunch of wood, and also just getting 20% more gathering from your starting, like, 4 out of the 5 sheep. It's a lot of food that you still get there. Like 20% out of 800 food, that's 160 food for free, basically, out of nowhere that you're getting with that early Imperial Official. That would have gone to waste otherwise.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. This is my actual preferred way to play China in the opening. I actually like this opening just because it's satisfying to be able to drop that village down. Whether or not it's always optimal, I mean, you could sway me either way, but I do agree. I like that play, and I do enjoy it. Just feels right for China. And obviously there's other plays that are perfectly viable as well, but I do like the early IO opening.
I also just feel like it's more flexible, like, to react to when your opponent does, like, Dark Age shenanigans. Now, not like Dark Age shenanigans are that common in tournaments, but it's a lot more common on ladder. That's where I feel like I'm more at home myself, so it's not more nice that way. Interestingly enough, we don't have Mysta going for the berries here early on as Ayubits. This is something that we've seen with Abbasid and just a lot of other berry. Actually, no, mainly just Abbasid. We've seen, I want to say, mainly the Canadian players like do that with civilizations like Abbasid, not going for the starting berries early on. And it looks like we can tell why he did it. He's going for economic win growth. Now, most people still go for the berries early on and just try not to deplete any of the berries. Looks like Mysta isn't going for that. He is going to go with economic win growth, so he is going to get some bonus food on these berry patches, but he's going to wait for the age up before he moves out to the berries from the looks of it.
That's a fun play. There is a way where you can distribute your villagers right on the berries so that you don't consume any of the actual patches, so you get that plus 50 to all of them. You can do that, so you could go on them early. It just takes a little more micro early. But yeah, this works too. You know, he's still going to get that bonus, and we see the mill being dropped right there as we speak. Well, and one thing too that's nice about this is that you don't delay getting any resources right off in the Dark Age as well. So you're getting that age up just a little bit faster by getting onto the sheep, which do have a faster gather rate, and you don't have to take time walking your villagers over there, which, again, it's almost negligible for most players, but at this level of play, there could be a couple seconds saved for that.
Yeah, 100%, and now we do see the Imperial Academy coming in here for Nuggify. So we'll be able to produce some additional Imperial officials for a very cheap price. That's very nice for him there. Behind this, the question is, what is Mysta going to do? He does have a lot of villagers on wood, so we will most likely be seeing a production building coming in here for him in Feudal Age. I would imagine that it's going to be just the stable into like one Desert Raider, just because a Desert Raider is incredibly good when it comes to denying pro scouts from your opponent. Just having that one very quick unit that does bonus damage not just against scouts but also against like horsemen that your opponent could go into. And even if your opponent then goes into spearmen, you can just switch over to the range mode and still do damage with the Desert Raider.
Yeah, exactly. See that Mysta's taking a look at the base here. I'm curious what his plan for a Castle Age would be, given that he went for the economic wing this time. I wonder, I feel like I would go for the dervishes, the 3, and just snipe the relics when you want it ready to go up into Castle Age.
It makes the most sense when you open it up with the growth wing. We do have double Desert Raiders coming in here, or at least 2 Desert Raiders already in queue for the Mysta. He is soon also going to be able to hit that Golden Age. Just one building shy of getting there. Once he does, we'll
And
be
that's just
getting
so
that
huge,
10%
too.
bonus gather rate on the villagers.
Yeah, and that's just such a massive part of their play and why Ayubits could be so good. That extra 10% really does pay off. And the sooner you get it, the better, right? I mean, the longer you have that running, the more resources you get. Do you see Wheelbarrow
and the other
picked up
bonuses
now?
as well are just really good for Ayubits, and when they come in especially, just the Golden Age Tier 2 at just 20 buildings giving you that additional research speed as well, so it's definitely something that you can hit by the time that you reach Castle Age, and getting into Castle Age with 25% faster research, that is very valuable. We do have the Horseman trading out a little bit
love
there with
this
the Desert
interaction.
Yeah, he does realize, okay, I win with mass. If I'm just by my lonesome, I'm gonna get counted out.
I love that interaction because it's so true. Like horsemen, like the rule of thumb is that horsemen are going to counter desert raiders, but when it's one-on-one, the actual the armor, the melee armor that desert raiders have is actually enough to help them win the one-on-one with the horsemen. The problem is the economy of scale, right? They're more expensive units, and the horsemen scale a lot quicker and better and are faster, and so you got to be careful. But man, one-on-one, it is a really fun interaction, and especially when they pull out the bows and start doing more chip damage as they try and run away too. Like right there. There we go.
The one
Multiple
horseman,
bows out
there
and
we
gets
go.
one anyways.
Yeah,
I love that.
is able to pick that one off. We do have the Pro Scout still working behind this though, so 2 of the deer have already been brought back here from the looks of it, and Nuggify is going to be able to bring this one back as well from the looks of it. Mist has to be so careful here with that one weak Desert Raider, but gets a nice trade out. One of the horsemen already down in health again, and oh no, he's hitting the Scout. Not the unit that you want to hit. We're getting an Archer now? That's,
And archers do counter them, but the problem is they outspeed and they just run
counter
away.
them. They don't counter them, they just don't get countered. But there's no real counter relationship between an Archer and a Desert Raider.
Another really
Especially
weak
since Desert
horseman
Raiders
there.
attack much quicker as well. Like, if you have, like, 3 Desert Raiders versus 6 Archers, the Desert Raider should win.
This is the point where I'm looking at the health bars of those Desert Raiders. I almost wish I really prefer going for the Dervishes in Feudal Age, having just the 2, and then going Growth Wing in Castle Age. Just because then you could have one of those guys sitting with them and healing them the entire time, and just think of the amount of value you'd be getting out of that.
Nuggify, he's reinvesting into Archers, and Mr. He made these Desert Raiders from stables. It is so easy for him to just go into Horsemen. In fact, he could also just cancel them and just go up to Castle Age immediately. Does have the option to do so. But the Archers right now, they don't really do anything for Nuggify. In fact, the Archers just kind of hinder him here long term, because that's not a unit that you really want to go for in this matchup.
Especially when the Mista hits Castle Age, and then he can swap to Horseman right now if he wanted, but then if he ever starts pulling out Camel Lancers in Castle, those things are just toast.
There we go, the Horseman now get
He's gonna have
revealed.
Horseman, yep. And there's logistics coming in, so it will be the Dervish play.
And Nuggify, he's just hard stuck in this age. He way over invested into the military now. Instead of just like getting 6 more horsemen in, making the archer range, and then investing into 11 archers, also getting the pierce damage upgrade in now, he's going to be stuck in this age for quite a while, and that means that most likely every single relic is going to be going over to the Mista.
And that's massive. That is so massive for a Ubits, because then it lets them focus on the food a little more than the gold. And then they're just cruising, with 5 relics gold coming in. You pull off all but like 1 or 2 villagers on gold, put it onto the wood, go get your outside food resources. The tempo you get from that is an incredible swing.
Just so many units worth of gather speed that you're getting with all of the gold there. Culturing logistics just 1 minute out now at this point in time. The horsemen from Nuggify are a little bit out of position here, are going to get chased down eventually here by the horsemen from Mista.
And Nuggify hasn't destroyed a single unit of the Mistas yet. We're almost 10 minutes in.
Yeah, Nuggify also hasn't managed to take away any from the deer from Mista's side as well. Hasn't even taken his own deer fully yet. The food income is just now starting to ramp up for him, but it just feels so delayed at this point in time. We're getting another archery range in now. I'm not sure if like Mazhuganu would be like something that he wants to go for in as a follow-up. He's not Song Dynasty yet.
I don't know
It's
why
not
you
really
want to.
practical for him.
With Camel Lancers on the horizon, I think that'd be a terrible choice.
The thing at least is that Camel Lancers have less health than normal knights, and since you're only going to be doing 1 damage with a Jugunu anyways, at least it's like more effective than if you were to use it up against normal knights. That's difficult, and Mr. Yeah, he's just using the mobility here, making it very tough for Nuggify to move on. There we go, the 3 dervishes, and Mr. already prepped golems behind this and double archery ranges now. We're seeing Camel Lancers, golems, and eventually probably archers as well. Yeah, we're getting the veterancy on the archers as well now.
Nuggify in a really tough spot here. He's got a pretty good mass, but I'm not sure he can do much with it. Mista's not going to take a fight he can't win.
Nuggify is about to be able to hit the age up on his own side now as well. He's going to try and deny some of the relics here from Mista. First relic, first 2 relics are going to make their way back though. The other
This
3 relics are
distraction
all
with
on
the
the
military
bottom
is
side. On the right hand
And so right
side.
now, Mista's just distracting Nuggify with that military there. Yeah, come follow me. He wants him to follow him up into the corner. Let him have some time to go get the rest of the relics.
I like the play with the astronomical clock tower. Now, typically players would probably want to go for the Imperial Academy, just because typically as Chinese you would now go for like a mass knight spam. But against the civilization like Ayubids, eventually you're gonna need siege, and having just the access immediately to a better siege workshop, that is worth a ton. Getting those high HP Nest of Bees or even higher health Springles helps you a ton.
Yeah, especially when we see there's only 1 Golem on the field. I'm curious why he built the infrastructure just to make 1. Getting some value out of it though, as he's trying to deny the pro scouts a little further. Not letting these ones get away.
Yeah. 4th relic making its way back to Mr. Side. And all these low health units here as well could all just get healed back up again from the Mista.
Yeah, and unlike the HRE, where they do 1 at a time, that's an area of effect healing, and it's automatic because of the logistics wing.
Yeah.
Good raid here, though.
It's a couple of villager kills.
Couple villagers.
Or at least 1. Maybe 2. Probably not 2. Probably just the 1.
Part of the deal, we'll say. 2 horsemen for a villager. We'll pretend that's worth it. 12 minutes in the game.
We haven't gotten any Castle Age upgrades yet on the army from Nuggify. We do have some crossbows, but there's no veterancy in yet on the spearmen, on the archers as well, which he does have. Like, that's most of his army. No veterancy in there. We do see the first monk coming in, so at least he's gonna get 1 relic. 1 relic less for your opponent at the very least, so not the end of the world, but it is a very bad position to be in right now, that's for sure.
Yeah, if I'm the Mista, I'm obviously you want all 5, but I'd be pretty happy to get 4 here. Like that's mission accomplished still.
Yeah, 100%. Just having them there at this point in time already. He's now also moving out to the deer. He is at the top tier as well. This is Nuggify's chance at the moment to just send like a knight around, like 1 knight on each side, and just trying to cause idle time, trying to deny a little bit here and there. We do now also have the veterancy upgrade on the archers coming in. Does have the resource for the spearmen as well. Definitely will want to get that one as well.
That dervish barely made it out of there alive, but got pulled at just the right moment, keeping those alive. And here's that mass healing that is just so good, and bringing both over. These dervishes, if you've got 2 or 3 of those in your army, it is so much value added back in. It's just so good that, like, as an Ayubids guy, I don't want to overstate it because I don't want to ever nerf because I love it. But man, it almost runs the risk of being too good at times.
Just almost, of course. Just almost.
Just almost. Just almost. Yeah, not quite. Don't change it, please. But it's just even I gotta admit, it's pretty good and almost busted when it works really well like that. I'm not gonna toot its horn too much though, because I like it the way it is.
Bargain of the Sun now coming in for Nuggify, so we'll be getting that Song Dynasty. We'll be coming in on the boar as well, so we'll be able to have a little bit of support there. Of course, that added gather speed from the boar will help him out a lot.
There's those knights we were talking about, getting some good raids in. He's gotten 2 villagers now, and needs to keep the pressure up, because again, that's where Ayubids could be vulnerable, right? He's got a lot of food income coming in right now, but he doesn't have a lot of food in the bank. So if Nuggify can keep the pressure up on the food against the Mista, force an earlier farm transition, that'd be huge. What's more likely to happen is that the Mista's probably going to back up a little bit, play against that, defend the raids, and then reclaim the food. But if he can get some good damage in the meantime, that could really help Nuggify solidify his position a little bit.
Knight gonna try and go for a raid again. Mista pays attention though. Villagers do get garrisoned in the outpost there. Now Song Dynasty. Nuggify is slowly but surely gonna start pulling ahead in the economy department. Getting some palace guards now as well from Nuggify, so we'll have a more solid front line up against the archers. And also, most importantly, Nest of Bees coming in.
With the amount of spears he has, I definitely like the idea of going for some palace guards as well. There's not a great counter that the Mista has for that. The camel lancers, of course, will trade pretty well, but with the amount of spears he has as well, that makes it difficult to do. And so I do think it's a good option to kind of, diversify his military as Nuggify and to make it harder to deal with, because the camel lancers, they love being able to charge in and do the really heavy damage. But like you pointed out earlier in this game, they don't have as much health as a normal knight, and so they don't want to stick around too much. And if they get caught into the spears, it can really, really hurt.
The issue with the palace guards is they don't have as much armor as normal Minotaurs, of course, and that also means that they do take more damage from golems potentially. Just in general, archers can really quite easily take them down just because of that one less armor. But it's still better than not having any armor to begin with, of course. We have some fire projectiles coming in here. SFB hasn't gotten off a shot yet.
I definitely wouldn't make that the mainstay of the army. Like, that shouldn't be the staple here. But having a couple mixed in definitely does help.
Outpost Hole Mista just halfway complete, in case he needs it, he's going to be able to rush it up quicker. And if he ultimately doesn't need it, then he's just going to be able to delete it and get the wood back.
Pro play is what we're trying to say. Very pro play. Very, very what he meant to do entirely.
I see the vision.
I'll just joke that, the permits didn't go through and that the city's having a hard time, allowing that to go up.
It always tends to happen.
Always the red tape. A couple Nest of Bees out there, and those are clockwork Nest of Bees, so they got the extra health bonus on them. Meanwhile, though, the Mista building his own siege, and man, the Manjanique, I just love Ayubis because they've got so many good things going for him. The Manjanique being one of the funnest units, I think, as far as siege goes. Here we can see a raid coming in. Nuggify immediately dives in. It's like a well-placed Barbican, actually, covering both the berries and the boar. I actually really like that spot for it.
It's a lot of income for him there, and very important that he did get that in. Sacred Side starts to get decapped at the right-hand side. Now, if he captures that up as well, it's going to be very valuable here for him. Does finally spot out the villagers on the deer there at the top side. I think that's just one villager too many. Slight little engagement in the middle at the same time, though. SFB is firing off here as well. Needs to micro them a little bit more forward.
Oh, there he goes. He gets it. He realized that it wasn't quite there.
Look at all of these just... The dervish is just healing away all of the damage that came in here from the Nest of Bees. Makes it very difficult for Nest of Bees to really stick here. Like, the damage just doesn't stick.
I like the fire projectiles, but I would change to the regular ones at this point, just to get some heavier damage. The spread is nice, but he's got to actually kill units, not just damage them.
Nuggify, looks like he is actually... Though. Yeah, both the dervishes are dead. The damage now starts to stick here.
He's just sitting there, standing there. He's not moving away.
He needs to be careful. Camel Lancers are coming back in. There's no front line anymore.
That felt very unforced. I feel like Nuggify could have backed up away from that. The fire shots don't do that much damage. There was no reason to lose so many units to that.
Yeah, now, I mean, a lot of the military force was very low health, but if he just retreated there, the fight was going quite well for him.
I think
some repositioning could have helped him a ton.
Yeah, he fell in the mistake of thinking he could just take the fire shots, and you can take a fire shot from the Manjanique. You can take 2. Heck, you can take 3. But once you start taking 5 and 6, it's just one too many.
It starts piling up, and just because the spread is so wide, means that you're gonna a lot of units are gonna take very little damage, and once that stacks up, then
and all your units are taking all their damage. Yeah. And that's exactly what happened.
That's a lot of your military going down.
Oh, and it's so unforced, right? Because you get so many. It's not like a regular mangonel shot, where if you got like 3 mangonels all shooting the same spot, like it's just if that lands, it lands. Like there's not much you could have done except try to avoid it. But in that case, he just stood and took it again and again and again. And it's like, no, pull back. You can pull back here.
Behind us, we do have a second TC that went up for the Mista again. Nuggify is still somewhat, just a little bit ahead in the economy department, just because, or rather, it's just coming up. Because he has that Song Dynasty. Actually, there must have been some idle time then for Nuggify on the TC. He should be further ahead at this point in time in the villager
Especially with Song
department.
Dynasty, yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we can't forget that TheMista also had the 3 villagers in the beginning as well, but still, he's had Song for a while.
You've got Imperial Official, so that also counts, like 3 Imperial Academy. So you should have been like 3-4 more villagers ahead at this point in time. Not the case, so just a little bit of idle time.
A little idle.
More crossbows and some Nest of Bees coming in now for Nuggify. So the army is still solid for him. We do see some walls coming in at the top side, so if he's able to like keep his farming area safe, then he's gonna be in a decent spot. We do see a nice little quick wall coming in here. Army is gonna get directed through the base of Nuggify. He's gonna be able to keep his farm safe.
That was almost, I won't say catastrophic, but very dangerous. That quick wall, just enough time, and the units reacting just enough time to deter TheMista from diving all the way in there. Cheeky scout there in the woods, taking a look at the vills. That could be a future raiding spot in the next couple minutes. House guards finishing off the chase.
Behind us though, Mista's food income right now, it's not looking too hot. He must be doing his own farm transition right now. Yeah, I do see a bunch of farm clusters getting up right now. Also adding in a third TC on his side. So Mr. right now leaning very heavily into the economy, but this is a nice window now for Nuggify that he could use.
This is kind of what I was mentioning about as far as food for the Ubids. Like, it's just, you leave yourself a little bit vulnerable for a minute where you might have been ahead the entire game, and then there's a chance. The question is, will Nuggify capitalize on that? Because once, the farms get in place, TheMista is going to be cruising here with 4 relics, as we see here.
If we get to, like, 25-ish crossbows, Nuggify could take just about any fight here, as long as he, respects the Manganiques with his own Nest of Bees. And Nest of Bees should always come out on top here, up against the Manganiques.
Yeah, right now he's got 4 now. That's a pretty healthy number. You feel pretty comfortable with that, and sure enough, Nuggify feels comfortable enough to move out with that 4th one coming in.
Starts moving towards the middle, where the army from TheMista resides at the moment.
And here we go. First shots fired.
Just a normal A move, though. Has to be careful with the positioning. This is all about just how you position your army when you take the fight. You want to spread it a little bit wider in order to just minimize the damage that you take from those Manganiques.
I like that TheMista continues to add more Springolds in. He knows that he's got to match the number and maybe have more of the Siege Workshop Nest of Bees. Or, sorry, not Siege Workshop, what am I saying? The
Manganiques there.
The Clockwork Tower. The tower, the tower Nest of Bees, yeah. They get the bonus health.
He needs more Manganiques just because of the strength of those Clockwork Nest of Bees there. Does spawn out the villagers here, but there is already a nice wall there from Nuggify. Gets an outpost there as well. So villagers are going to be safe there from any raids.
Military mass reacting to that as well, making sure that they leave for good.
We're now also seeing some crossbows coming in. I feel like this would be a great point in time for Nuggify to just go gung-ho into mass horsemen. Even though there are camel lancers, at least with the horsemen, you can force the camel lancers to just chase the horsemen for quite a while in the game. And if they ever choose not to chase the horsemen, you can dive onto the siege and onto the archers in the back line. He's got the food income for it.
Another Springgold. Pretty good mix of siege here for both players. And the 5 Nest of Bees feels really good. But on the other side, 5 Manganique and 3 Springgolds isn't anything to sneeze at either.
Ooh, just a couple of archers here, causing some idle time. Archers that will get taken down, though. Next up, there's a keep that's being planned here on the top side in order to start decapping one of these sacred sites here at least. Mista, though, starting too much forward. Nuggify, does he see it? Does he see it? He does notice it. Is going to pull back here inside of his base, and the keep will get rushed up. Mista, does he see it? I believe he did see it, thanks to the line of sight that the sacred site provides you.
He by the time he gets there, it's going to be up. That faster build speed for China is going to prove very effective, and he's going to have to just say, no, okay, we'll just take the fight down the middle instead.
Camel Lancers taking down some of the Crossbows there. The Nest of Bees, they're just not moving. 2 go down.
Huge pickup for the Mista there.
Oh my god.
Well, now here's the fun thing about the Manjanique is the fire shots weak against units but have a great spread, but they do pretty good damage against buildings per design, and that tower probably gonna go down as it lights a flame. Here comes Nuggify. Manjanique's getting some really good.
Oh my god, the volley.
Everything grouped into the little choke point, and the Manjanique's taking full advantage of it, raining hellfire down from the heavens.
More SFBs coming in though. The crossbows, they're not hitting the camel lancers, they're just standing there.
This is catastrophic.
Just like that. The entire mass is getting evaporated here inside the base from Nuggify. He's got no more defensive to fall back onto. No keep inside of his base, and just like that, GG comes in. Mista wins the set 2-0.
You said it came all down to positioning, and positioning did it come down to indeed. Every unit of Nuggify was in that little choke point between the wall. Everything was clumped in super duper tight quarters like they were playing sardines. And the Manjanique just nailed him. All 4 or 5 of those Manjanique went right onto that, and that was an incredibly good shot. Devastated the army of Nuggify, and then there's just no coming back from that. The Mista takes it in 2. What a series, what a game.
GG coming in here. That means Mista is going to progress through the bracket. His next opponent is going to be, I believe it was either Valdemar or Jean Doe on this side of the bracket. They're currently battling it out, so whoever wins their set is going to have to face off against the Mista next.
Pretty convincing series there from the Mista. Never really a point where it didn't feel like he was relatively in charge. Both games, he was pretty much ahead pretty early on and kind of just maintained that lead. And that fight, though, I feel like Nuggify was in this game, but that fight was so catastrophic.
It was. I mean, it was just masterfully played as well from the Mista. He really played it well there, just playing towards the sacred side and just getting the relics in. First game, of course, like, HRE got all of the relics in there. There were some good raids that were there as well.
Manjanique, what a fun unit.
I mean, the Manjaniques, I think, were neutral-ish there. It's the positioning in the last game, of course, and just the timing on the age up. Like, I feel like if Nuggify just didn't go for the archer play instead, he would have probably had enough resources to maybe match the age up timing, or potentially just deny the relics a little bit more. Because, like, if your opponent gets 4 relics, that's always super massive, especially for the Iobits. I mean, just making full usage of the Dervish there, and then very quick Sacred Site capturing as well. It's a lot of passive gold income there as well. Means that Mista basically doesn't even have to actively gather that much gold. He can use his villagers and other resources and pull ahead in that regard. So yeah, it's just the way that Mista also just positioned his army. You always take, like, whenever you look at, like, the army value and the army count, and it's even, it's looking even. The way Mista won these fights was always just through positioning and just making sure his units are standing in the correct just position, just having them spread out, not taking as much damage from Nest of Bees, having your dervishes with the archers. So if there's a Nest of Bee shot coming in, you will be able to re-heal those units. But that is going to be this set.